Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm alongside the czar of the playbook, Emery Hunt, and I'm Tyler Merkovich, and this is your Mid-American Conference 2009 football preview. Talking about the MAC, let's talk about the Western Division, where they got Central Michigan, the Chippewas, led by Butch Jones. They had an embarrassing loss in the Motor City Bowl to FAU last year, but they bring back Dan Lefevre, two-time first-team All-MAC.
And it all starts with Dan Lefevre. That was a phenomenal quarterback. He can run the spread effectively. He has great legs. He can also throw the ball down the field. So I like his talent as a quarterback. He is a legitimate pro prospect.
One of his targets, Antonio Brown, only the second player ever to make all-conference in three different categories: all-conference wide receiver, punt returner, and kick returner. He's diminutive, but he is a special player.
You look at both those receivers, Antonio Brown, Brian Anderson, 13 touchdowns combined between the two of them, 154 receptions. Those two guys on the outside will allow Lefevre to be even much more of a leader and get Central Michigan back to a bowl game.
Offensive line, let's see if we can hold up. Only two returning starters with two players with starting experience there. Colin Miller, the center, is back from injury, though, which is a plus.
They have two question marks on the tackles. I don't have a problem with the interior offensive line, but questions on both ends.
Defensive side of the ball, Frank Zombo, the defensive end, and middle linebacker Nick Ballore. And they bring 10 back from the defensive side of the ball, so a little something different for Butch Jones, an experienced defense.
Hopefully that's going to help out a lot, because last year they gave up 30 points a game, 62% completion percentage. The defense was their weak point. It was in a lot of shootouts. So with those 10 starters back, that's going to help out a lot, because that consistency, these guys know each other. It shouldn't have an adjustment period. So I like the fact that they might improve actually on defense.
8-5 last year, 16 starters back, and all for Jones' third year at a conference.
Well, you look at, I don't mean to cut you off, but you look at their defense. They knew defense was a problem. 15 incoming recruits this year, all on defense.
Working on that side of the ball, because Butch Jones has that high-powered offense.
And the Mike linebacker, you look at Nick Ballore, 6'1", 232, big guy, first team on MAC. So their defense should improve.
At a conference, they're at Arizona, at Michigan State, and in conference they got Buffalo and Western Michigan on the road. Tough games.
Yeah, those two games Buffalo is a real tough team because they have a strong running game. Western Michigan has a hot shot quarterback, Tim Hiller. So you have to look out those two tough road games to go in conference.
From Central Michigan to Western Michigan, the Broncos, a team that beat Central last year. They were 9-4 last year, but they were outmatched by Rice in the Texas Bowl. They bring back their quarterback, highly touted Tim Hiller, and they bring back 10 starters, and Philip Swanson, the left guard, was first-team All-MAC.
You got to like Tim Hiller, 6'5", 230, shotgun arm, reads the defense real well, 64% completion percentage, 3,700 yards. This year he should take the #1 spot as the all-time career passing leader at Western Michigan. But they have an awesome tailback in Brandon West, 1,000 yards. I like the way he runs the football. He reminds me of a guy, Darren Nelson, they used to play back in Stanford. I like him as a tailback.
Defensive side of the ball, they lose Luis Delmas to the NFL draft, second round in the NFL. But Cody Zielinski, defensive tackle, second team All-MAC.
Well, looking at they lost Delmas in the draft, so you expect their secondary to take a big drop off. He was the leader of their defense, so secondary going to be a problem with Western Michigan. But I do like Austin Pritchard, linebacker, 6'4", 230, gang tackle. He is a man. I like him up front. Also, defensive end player Freddie Bishop. You want to keep an eye on him. 6'4", 247, and runs a 4.7 40.
Only 3 returning starters for the Broncos on defense. At a conference, it got 3 Big Ten teams on the road: Michigan, Indiana, and Michigan State. And in conference, they play Buffalo, Ball State, Central Michigan, and Miami of Ohio.
I'll keep an eye on that game at Michigan. That's going to be a good one. Hopefully they can pull off the upset. That will springboard their season. But they're going to need help on that offensive line. They're starting a big, true freshman at right tackle. Ben Sampson, 6'5", 345. So if that offensive line, which is a big group, can hold together, this could be a special team.
Toledo Rockets 3-9 last year. Tim Beckman, the former Oklahoma State defensive coordinator and Ohio State assistant coach, is in his first year as Rockets head coach. Aaron O'Pelt will be heading the offense as quarterback. 5 offensive linemen starting experience return, and Morgan Williams, 330 yards rushing in one game. He is back for the Rockets.
He is just a sophomore, and this guy had 6 yards a carry last season. That is impressive. Aaron Opet, 60% completion percentage, a good leader. You saw what they did last year when they went up to Michigan and beat the Wolverines. So I like Toledo. The offensive line is simulating. They have 2 sophomores starting on the bookend, so you have to worry about pass protection with the left tackle and right tackle because they're 2 younger players. But I do like Stephen, 6'5", 200 pounds. He runs a 4.39. To get somebody that big to run that fast, he's going to make a lot of plays in the back.
Defensive side of the ball led by Rover Barry Church, 3-time first-team All-MAC. What do you think about their Rockets defense?
They gave up, they had 10 sacks last season. They have to generate some type of pass rush. Quarterbacks have all day to throw the ball, which means their secondary may struggle a little bit. They have to get their hands on a lot of balls as well, too. They don't have too many interceptors on defense. They need to find some people that can catch some picks. But the linebacking core, you look at Mike linebacker Archie Donald, 6'2", 235. This guy had 120 tackles and 2 interceptions. But in order for Toledo's defense to show up, they have to improve on the defensive line, get some pass rush, and that secondary has to get their hands on some picks this season. At
a conference, they got Purdue, Colorado, and Ohio State, and they host Western Michigan, but go to Central Michigan.
They have a tough schedule this season, out of conference, and the way it falls in conference in order. So Toledo has a tough time this year.
The Northern Illinois Huskies, 6-7 last year. Jerry Kill returns 11 starters. Chandler Hirsch, the sophomore quarterback, led in rushing.
Well, he has to improve as a passer as well, too. It's not good when you're quarterback. Well, they run the spread, but they need to get more production out the passing game. They're going to use a running back by committee. You look at Miko Brown, a real good running back, but, with him and Harnish, the quarterback, they're going to be, combining yards. And so I just need for them to find more consistency in the passing game. But they do have, Nathan Pollin, who I think is a future star, 23.3 yards a catch, deep threat.
Defensive side of the ball, Brandon Bice, the defensive end, All-MAC 13.
Well, you look at Brandon Bice, 6.5 sacks, 6'4", 250. Northern Illinois had an awesome defense last year. He's going to be the next in line. I like his pass rush ability. Safety, David Bryant, 83 tackles last year as he was the free safety. So, they have a workman-like cornerback crew. So they play aggressive, they play well, they just go to work every day. So I like that about them. They handle their business just like they're supposed to.
Jerry Kill bring the blue collar to Northern Illinois. Out of conference, they're at Wisconsin and Purdue, 2 Big Ten foes. They host Western Michigan, at Central Michigan, and at Toledo.
They have a tough road schedule, so that's going to be a tough year for Northern Illinois. I don't think they build on what they did last year. I think they take a small step back.